So, I'm stoned and playing the new Spongebob Squarepants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated remake that's honestly, dudes, a gift from the heavens to gamers who missed refined, tightly made, and most of all, joyous platforming experiences that were once so popular in our youth. Which has got me wondering, who on earth hurt poor Funky Joseph over at GameSpot? Because, dudes, that review is a serious cry for help. Let me just read you the start of his review. Now, keep in mind, this game is a totally faithful update of the OG Battle for Bikini Bottom. So if you've ever played that game, or indeed a platformer like it, these complaints will seem downright absurd, but let's not get angry at the poor fellow. He obviously has some pretty horrible demons he's dealing with, as you're about to find out. Now, let's hear from Funky Joseph. Funky? Nearing the end of SpongeBob's journey under the sea, you're tasked with guiding a ball through a giant Rube Goldberg machine in Mermaid Man's lair. That's Merman's lair. Whatever. Once you activate the machine, you have to match the ball's painstakingly slow speed while using SpongeBob's arsenal of bubble abilities to make sure it doesn't fall over. It's a simple task and concept, but trying to execute it is some of the most unfun and Sisyphean, how do I pronounce this word? Let me look it up in the grammar thing and hear this. Sisyphean gameplay in recent memory. Funky, do you even know what Sisyphean means? I looked up in the grammar thing. What word means a hard and difficult to complete task? You mean like your review? Shut up. In one section of the puzzle, all you need to do is stand on a button, and that button opens a gate for you to blow a bubble into so you can progress. The only problem is that during SpongeBob's wind-up animation for bowling, he walks forward. That means you fall off the button, which closes the gate and prevents you from blowing the bubble where you intended when you intended. These kinds of gameplay barricades are common and force you to restart and face your demons again and again and again. Calm down, Funky. Now, that makes the game sound pretty horrible. Almost like a why bother, right? After all, you're giving the game a 2 out of 10, so it must be a downright shit-tastic game, huh? In a sense, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, it functions as a SpongeBob museum, highlighting the environments that give life to the series. There's a keen attention to detail and recreating the original's charm, which is done well, but this underwater world's allure falls flat with the quality of life updates that consider how differently we play today. Funky, once again, please calm down. Hang on now, time out. Maybe I just like these kinds of games. Let's see what critics back in the day said about the original one. Let's see about that. Let's see here. Look at that. It's not given perfect scores all around by any means, but these reviews are pretty reflective of my overall experience with the game. I've got balls deep love for this style of game, this universe, and the memories all those things bring back for me. I slipped up a little bit, but I got it. So of course, the game is a 10 out of 10 from me and for me. No brainer, really. But I can understand how some gamers would find it dull if they didn't have those connections. And for those who only have a few of those connections, I can see how it might be a 7 or even a 6. So to rate the game anywhere between a 10, a 7, and even a 6 feels right for the original game. Now, what about the new one? Let's see how critics of today rate the remake, shall we? That's rather odd, isn't it? While again, not everyone is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The reaction to the game, though, has been incredibly positive. Most seem overjoyed to return to the PS2 platforming genre, and what's this? An overly critical review? Must be another poor unfortunate soul in pain. Let's read on. As much as I loathe the occasional rhetoric in reviews, I think it's important to answer the question everyone's thinking. Why are you reviewing a Spongebob game? Then, if you detest it so. A valid question, sure, but it's largely due to being yet another remake of an aged platformer, something that we're all too aware has seen quite a resurgence in the past few years, with the noteworthy Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy, and Spyro Reignited Trilogy collections gracing both our retinas and digits. It's easy to be optimistic about the concept of Battle for Bikini Bottom returning, but it's equally easy to question, quite frankly, why it's coming back in the first place at all. Little to no demand for a resurgence in SpongeBob platformers has resulted in THQ Nordic reviving a platformer of a bygone era, and outside of the game's resurgence in speedrunning communities, it seems they're simply trying to capitalize on the latest trend. Dude, it seems to me like you might need to take a chill pill, smoke some weed maybe. Shut up, I'm doing my review now. Worries aside, however, there's something certainly, something for letting this game speak for itself instead, to justify its existence. Mere moments in, however, it's clear to see that Spongebob feels like I had imagined. Being that of an older platformer with little to no modernizations outside of the souped-up visuals, a wildly awkward camera plagued my first few hours and made the mere act of playing the game a chore, and when the humor fails to deliver more often than not, it further muddies an already questionable existence. Granted, the humor issue would have been an issue in the original release too, yet the flat voice recordings remain the same. An arguably easy amendment to have been made for Rehydrated. The lack of emotion from some voice actors, some of which are those used in the show whilst others are not, diminish the essence of SpongeBob Squarepants for many, and again, leave the game feeling flat in the delivery. Jesus Christ, dude, you take yourself way too fucking seriously. You know what, though? At least he's honest and upfront about detesting the genre and character, and that does make his criticisms less whiny than GameSpot's. This is a person who clearly has confidence and made the choice to review the game for a reason. But his reason is also why he needs a hug, too. See, this person clearly does not like platformers very much, and clearly hates SpongeBob and all things that are happy and joyous. That is his right, and his reasons for disliking the game are valid to a point. But they stop being valid when he assumes his opinion is the only one in the world. Too many critics think it's their job to tell you what is worth your money. They don't think it's their job to help you decide what is worth your money. They want to tell you what game they like and what game they want to see you spend your money on. On the flip side, they want to tell you the games they hate in the hopes that no one will spend money on those, so those games can stop being made. Now, if you doubt that is their intention, realize they understand that their job is telling gamers they view as too stupid to think for themselves what they should play, lest the wrong games get supported and more bad games like it get made. Are all critics writing reviews with that mindset? No, not the mentally well-adjusted ones anyway. The writer at the Daily Fix and those many critics like him who give scathing, overly negative reviews for the same exact reason. Now see, they don't hate all games, but the ones they don't really like, they hate, and think they should not exist at all. which seems a little bonkers to me. Just to me personally. The critic at GameSpot, however, poor Funky Joseph, remember Funky? He has no confidence and feels only defeat. He's not trying to take the game out. He isn't even thinking that far ahead. All he's doing is taking all his inner pain and anguish out on that poor sponge. There were multiple points in the game where I climbed up to the top of a high structure and a rogue robot knocked me all the way down into water. Ironically, none of the protagonists can swim, so I instantly died and respawned at a checkpoint. Having to start all over is truly deflating. I'm willing to learn how to excel with the game's controls, even if they're difficult to grasp at the start. But with Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, it isn't a matter of understanding the controls and abilities. It's a case of the controls just not working well. It's fine for games to punish players for being bad, but this game just feels constantly punishing for no reason. And it doesn't seem to notice or acknowledge it. Sometimes there are different ways to get golden spatulas in the game, but the game also randomly blocks paths with invisible walls, rendering your attempt to get there useless, and telling you that your solution isn't right. Walking into those walls, it feels like a slap in the face just for thinking creatively. Funky. Oh my god, dude. Number one, you're acting like the game was this horrible to begin with. Clearly, if the game was this fucking bad in 2003, no one would have given it a good review. That's just fucking facts. This sounds like this has way more to do with something that's going on in either your world or maybe the world surrounding you. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm kind of like Charlie Bartlett. Shut up! I don't need your help! It's the fact that the levels revolve around walking to recurring characters around the map and picking up tasks from them, fighting robots and swapping between two characters to utilize their strengths and complete the area. The loop could be enjoyable, but you can't run in the game or dodge or swap characters conveniently. It's grueling! You have to walk around slowly, fight almost every robot in your path. Some areas are way too packed with enemies, and frequently move back and forth to bus stops that are out of the way 90% of the time for character swaps. Don't you understand? The protagonists, they all have distinct play styles that grant you access to different parts of the map. If Spongebob can't jump there, then run over to a bus stop so you can swap characters to Sandy and lasso glide over there. But if you die, good luck keeping your cool. Deaths can feel beyond unfair, restarting your progress to the point that you may end up looking into the dark depths of the loading screen abyss thinking, why? Why me? Why? Oh my god. Funky, seriously, come over here. I will hold you until it's all better. No, don't fucking touch me! Get away from me! Really, dude, I promise the COVID stuff, the riots 2020, it's gonna get better, man. I promise. No, it won't! No, it's gonna get better! It's all hopeless! We're fucked! No, man. I understand it. I get it, man. I get it. 2020 beat you. And instead of realizing you feel so powerless because of all the world's big issues. You saw poor, happy little Spongebob and felt, nope, he's to blame. Spongebob ruined 2020. Spongebob is responsible for police brutality, racism, and COVID. That's not what I meant. I don't know anymore. I can't think clearly. I can't get the pressure to stop. It'll all be okay. Smoke some weed. I promise. It'll all be okay, Funky. Fucked up stuff like this, it happens all the time, and it has throughout our history. It just seems really fucked right now because we all jack into the Matrix every day with social media. And then it's just a loop of negativity, of hopeless, horrible problems that seem far bigger than anything we are capable of. And that's when you need to go play a fun game that'll bring you out of that funk. You feel me, Funky?
I think I do. I'm gonna go lie down for a little bit. Maybe go to a dispensary, get some ganja. And then I think maybe I'll play God of War to get out my aggression and some of this anger and hopelessness. Because ripping enemies apart in that, it always makes me feel good.
You do you, champ. Whatever makes you feel better. You do that. Because when you don't... we all need to care about the world's problems. We don't need to project the world's problems on other things, but you know what? The reason that the world has so many problems is that no one gave a shit for far too long, but now the world's starting to develop new ones because we all give so much of our shit that we only have dried up dung balls left to fling at passing sponges who exist purely to bring us joy and happiness. We cannot solve the world's problems in a decade. 2 or 3, maybe. Who knows? Anything is possible. But we will not solve a damn thing if we keep beating up the happy-go-lucky sponge who is only trying to find a bright spot in a darkly lit parking structure so he can dance freely and happily without being raped. Because, Funky, you allowed your pain to take over to the point that you smashed that one light protecting that happy sponge. Also, you could sneak up and violate him, thinking maybe, just maybe, if I fuck that Squarepants asshole hard enough, the world will be happy again. You know what? I kinda did think that a little bit. You know what? I know you did. But you have to let go of that anger and pain. You should have danced with the happy sponge. You could have realized that sponge, it doesn't dance like the Brillo pads of today. That sponge is classic and dances to a tune that was great in its time and is still a damn fine beat to jam out to this very day.
You know what? That game now sounds kind of fun all of a sudden. I did have some fun with the boss fights. Maybe if I go back into that game with the right mindset and maybe if I'm stoned off my ass, I'll have a ball.
Who knows, Funky? Who knows? Most people don't even fucking try, and you know what? The fact that you're trying means that you've gained some knowledge, and what's that old line about knowledge? I'll just let him take it from here.
Now we know!
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.